Everybody, welcome back. We're doing another Marvel Future Revolution video. A lot of discussion going on right now about how things are going. A topic that we've been discussing previously, we're going to tap on now because we got a mini post about it, and I want to talk about the specific person who had one of the winning things. I'm talking about Doctor Strange. We had some award winners for all of that as far as the recipients go for suggestions. I do think this is one of the big reasons why we haven't heard a lot from Netmarble right now is Lunar New Year, and they got the survey that they're actually looking at. So anyway, we're just going to dive into this. I'm going to talk about it, and we're going to look at the specific suggestions that we got here and probably touch on a couple other things. So if you're new to the channel, check out the Discord link in the description below, all that sort of thing, and let's get to it.
Bring me WolverThor!
All right, so the little announcement that we got was on the 18th yesterday. So they announced some of the winners from their survey. You scroll down here, they got a bunch of people, and you can see that they're going to get a selection box and some crystals, and that's, you know, nice and all that sort of thing. They picked 20 agents. Now, the weird part is it's just Asia, Southeast Asia, and America East. I don't know if that means that they didn't get a lot of surveys from the other areas, or if they're doing other area award winners later. I truthfully don't know. But you can see a bunch of people won here, which is great. Happy for all of these people. Looks like there's, for some reason, a reason that they leave out certain letters. I'm not sure why. But our own Bizzy, who I am in an alliance with, is one of the winners. So I talked to Bizzy quite a bit about a lot of this Doctor Strange stuff. He's got a lot of good suggestions. He actually shared when this was first going up, because we were still planning on doing this secondary Doctor Strange roundtable. He gave some suggestions and shared what his were. So I want to go through what he said a bit just to share what Netmarble's connecting with. Okay, so this is the write-up that Bizzy had, that he did. Now, I'm just having this on the screen, so as I talk through this, read through this, you guys can kind of see it if you want. But the way he kind of set this up is he's got different sections. He's got skills, specializations, and potential. So we're going to go over those different sections, and that's how we're going to kind of look through it. All right, so Bizzy wants to start with the Master of the Mystic Art skills. He talks about Crimson Bands of, I'm going to screw up a lot of these names. Cryorack has the potential to be really good, and it's a very good skill. The two drawbacks are that it doesn't do a lot of damage, and the snare that it does do only works if the enemy is guard broken. And I will say that I hate abilities like this. I hate them. I want them to take this concept out of the game wholesale. I don't think there's any ability in the game that someone says, finally, I've guard broken somebody, I'm going to use this ability. Guard break doesn't happen enough for that to be a thing in the game. Telling Netmarble right now, just remove that concept. Like, either help somebody guard break more, or do a snare ability regardless of guard break or not, period. Maybe guard break adds resistance to it or something. Okay, fine. But the idea that you're going to finally do an ability when someone's guard broken needs to go, in my opinion. Bizzy goes on to say Doctor Strange doesn't have many skills that can guard break, so the snare is basically useless. And I would generally agree with that concept in general, regardless. Even for characters that do a lot of guard break, I just think it's like, this is silly. Nobody guard breaks so often that they're like reusing ability over and over. You've got to, I mean, you need all your abilities available in these fights, all of them. All right, the next thing, Circular Shackles is an awesome PvE skill. Unfortunately, Netmarble nerfed it on soft launch, so restoring it would make it better. Okay, no, I agree with that. I think it's a good thought by Biz. You just throw it in there, make it a little bit better. Barrier Curse, another snare move with great range. Again, snare is useless without guard break. And this move takes so long to cast, to land reliably, it's typically dodged. And again, I agree. And I always talk about guided missiles from Iron Man. I just think that certain abilities, like, and I understand that a lot of Iron Men think that, well, this helps us, you know, in our build because we don't have any defensive abilities. I still think that mechanic should go. So I think that either make guided missiles hit for harder, but none of that early hit before animation goes. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, you've got exactly what's talking about from Bizzy here, what takes so long people can dodge it. So find a middle ground there and see what we have. The soul enhances is a good idea. However, it takes so long to cast and has a long cooldown for 10 seconds worth of a buff. So I get it. Overall, this skill class seems to be a PvE crowd control with little need in game currently for such a skill. None of the 4 sub skills do enough damage to be effective in current endgame PvP. They all have really slow animations as well. So, all right, I'll buy what he's selling there. He knows Strange really well. I get it. Then you talk about 7 Rings of Ragador. Starve, Shackles, and Chain Reaction feels like the exact same skill, one with slightly more damage than the other. I think it's just a good point. I like that he brings it up. The Ring Repulsion is Doctor Strange's best single target skill with best damage. The only problem is that it's a slow animation with a clear tell before deploying it. Him moving his hand back makes it easy for other players to tell it's coming and either counterattack, often hitting. It basically makes it so him moving his hand a bit makes it so other players know it's coming. They can dodge or hit him instead. It makes it pretty tough, or even going to something that might be an invincible an iframe. Magic Explosion, this skill would going up against Ring Repulsion is useless. No one will ever use it in comparison to that one. It's good for controlling large crowds of enemies for PvE, not PvP, so only in the PvE mode. Overall, 4 skills have this. Create distance from enemy if they are close in the description. This isn't a good thing, and it doesn't make them invulnerable from damage. It only creates delay in deploying skill, which isn't to their advantage. Doctor Strange, that is. Netmarble also raises guard break for all these skills from lowest to low. He thinks it was intended to help them guard break people more, but it essentially did nothing. The only way to guard break other players in this game is to be able to deploy low guard skills very fast, like a Black Widow or a Spider-Man, or have a lot of medium to high guard break skills like magic. And again, I generally agree with this. I think the guard break dynamic in the game is sort of silly. Look, it's great when it works, but it doesn't work very easily, and it doesn't happen a lot. So, I'm a Widow. I never get guard broken. Yeah, I know a lot of Iron Men or flying folks, they hate it. Doctor Strange's in particular, they get guard broken and they hate it. I don't know. I just think guard break in general needs to be worked on a bit, and I think he's tying into some good concepts here. Gateway Summons. The threshold of banishment is not enough damage done in either PvP or PvE. He doesn't use it a lot. Gateway Launch, arguably his best, this is Doctor Strange, best or second best skill. The only problem is it's got a really high stam and cooldown and takes a long time to deploy. It locks you in animation for duration, which is long, and makes you an easy target to kill in multiple player PvP matches like Alliance Omega War or Dark Zone or even Omega War. And I think that's a really good point. When you've got an ability like that, but you can never get it off, like what's the point? And this is a high arching issue too, just in the game in general, where people get one shot so easily. Like defense almost doesn't matter. It's just like, oh, I'm dead. Well, I'm dead. And I know plenty of 2 million players who die instantly in group PvP settings. Maybe not so much Omega War, but in Dark Zone or Alliance Omega War, man, it is just insta death. So I get that you got to balance that based on Omega War versus these game modes, because Omega War is only like a 10v10, but I don't know. There needs to be something there where it's balanced. Maybe, it's just known in a game mode that you have higher defense in Dark Zone and Alliance Omega War versus in a regular Omega War. I'd be fine with that personally. It's like everybody beefs up their defense more in these, mass Alliance versus Alliance type PvP modes, so that not everything's one shot and it's an actual fight. Somewhat similar to Omega War. Some Omega Wars won't necessarily be that way, but I definitely think that's the case. So Portal Bolt takes too long to deploy and goes in one direction. Easy to avoid and counterattack. All right, algorithm there. Gateway of the Edge is a great PvE skill, but it takes too long to deploy in PvP, and it's easy to avoid and see it come in and run away. The Mirror Dimension won't waste his time on this skill. It's terrible and should be replaced. I have Agamotto. First 2 skills seem like the exact same thing. It just varies in damage output. No one ever uses these skills. That's just sort of an FYI. So we'll keep going down that train. Tranquil Guardian would be useful if both remove debuff and restored your guard. I like that idea. So if a Spider-Man had a Doctor Strange webbed up and guard broken. If he could hit this and remove it like a true wizard, that would be cool. And I agree. I mean, this is the type of thing, it's like, yeah, okay, like, you know, you're clearing what you've got on you, right? So again, Bizzy is knocking it out of the park with these suggestions. I'm not surprised that he did, you know, get a win here. The Glare of Confusion should deploy this the same way MODOK deploys his confusion, putting it on the floor and hoping someone runs into it is just stupid and never works out well. This skill, the cooldown is also very long. And I would agree with this. Now, they have to be careful with this one, because if this one becomes too OP, you got to be careful with it. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. So maybe it is sort of like a AoE dispersal, and just play with the range. Don't make the range too big to start. Make it like a decent range, and then see if that's perfect. And then if it needs to be tweaked a little down or tweaked a little up, you can go there, but it's not broken one way or another. Astral Projection. So Astral Walk and Soul, the Predator, it's a very good skill and fastest animation Doctor Strange has. Ironically, this is the one skill animation he wishes lasted longer. For example, when he's facing an Iron Man who spin blades at the exact same time as he uses this move, he will come out of his animation first and still have to dodge another one of his swings of spin blade. Also, the dive distance for Astral Walk seems shorter than Soul Predator. They should be the same. So that's an interesting concept. I'm a little torn on that one. I think you should have a long one and a short one. Like I think of this as a Black Widow thing. I can either do a quick step, which is like a 4 attack move, which is a little bit longer, or a what is it? Break. Oh, man, I use this every day. This is so funny. I've got this one where it's exploit weakness. I was sitting here like, what is it? What is it? I was getting ready to pull it up. So I'm a little torn on that, but I like the concept that he's going there. Illusionist, Avenging Illusion. The cooldowns are way too long, and unfortunately it's hard to justify using these over the much lower cooldown Astral Walk, Soul Predator. It'd be interesting to use them together. Also, it would be cool if they could move around and use Doctor Strange skills like Iron Man summons. And I would agree with that. That's pretty interesting to think of. I'm a little torn on that one, because the part that, you know, makes these guys annoying is that you target them, and it's annoying to get to. But it would be cool if they followed Doctor Strange around. Maybe my suggestion for this would be is they're like next to Strange, so he can move. Like, because when I see these, I run away and wait till him to disappear. I just wait for him to go away. So it's like, okay, cool. Thanks for using the ability. Where Iron Man's, they don't necessarily get targeted as much, but they do follow they'll chase the character. So I think for Doctor Strange, maybe allow them to come out, but they just stay at a certain distance from Doctor Strange. So it's like, which one of these is the real Doctor Strange? I don't know. You still might run away, but you want nothing to do with the guy, right? So it's kind of like, get away from this. So that is an interesting concept there. I'd be curious to see what you guys think. The Book of Vishanti. This is a Mystic Pioneer, Mystic Pioneer magical absorption. The straight line attack nature of the skill, low damage, makes an instant loss to a better Vishanti assault. Okay. I don't really have much to add to that one. Lesson of Wisdom would be good if it worked like the spec that many characters have. If he displays all of his other skills, then use this one and it reduces the cooldown of the other skills, it would be more useful. The 40-second cooldown is way too long. Casting time is too long. It's also up against one of the Doctor Strange's 2 highest guard damage skills. It's also his best AoE. So for this one, the Lesson of Wisdom, I think this is the one where it has so this should be the exact same CP as like what's it, the Iron Man one, the EMP, the skill lamp one, or EMP, the one where it reduces all his cooldowns. I'm forgetting the name of it at the moment, but I think they should work basically the same. Why wouldn't they, right? I think it should work that way. So I like a suggestion here. Vishanti Assault has great damage, the highest guard damage, and great tracking. The only drawback is it's too slow. He jokes that Doctor Strange has to open his book, proofread his spells before deploying the attack, which is pretty hilarious. Animation for the skill needs to be sped up. I agree. Eldritch Sword, Antimatter Sword, not enough damage to compete in PvP or PvE. I'm with him on that. Tau Mandalis is the best in class, all the qualities as Vishanti Assault with the same issue cast time, too slow. The Bladed Defense would be very interesting skill if he did have to be so close to deploy. If it created a big barrier, it would help as well. I think he's basically saying it's like he wants to have more range on it. Damage reduction should be last duration of the skill realistically. The amount of damage other characters gain in the last balance patch at the trade-off of cooldowns, the damage reduction on the skill is marginal at best. And I have to agree with that as well. The Shanti's Sacred Sword is easy to avoid, not the same tracking or damage as Tau Mandala's. Doctor Strange ultimate skill is only useful on mobs. It does not pick up and slam supervillains in a Mega War sometimes doesn't even work on players. While he has other players in the air and before he has actually done any damage to anyone, he is defenseless. The Doctor Strange's ultimate is the one that they have to be the most careful with. I remember when this was pretty OP in a Mega War early on, they nerfed it too much. So they need to bring it back into a middle ground here. I don't know the right answer yet. I like that it pulls away 2 dodges. You know, I don't like that people can resist it. Maybe that's something that they change immediately, is it can't be resisted, that it always lands. It doesn't matter on what the stats are. Sorry, he's landing this. He's a Sorcerer Supreme, and once he gets his ult, it's landing. So you're going to use 2 dodges, period. I don't know, maybe you reduce the damage. I don't know. It needs to, at minimal, you know, be something that can land on everybody. All right, specializations. Some of his specializations don't synergize well with his skills. Time manipulation resonance. This should apply to Mystic Art class skills, as a lot of illusion magic skills aren't even damage dealing skills. Things such as confusion and summon illusions does no damage. Time manipulation, reverberation, and time manipulation force field are redundant, both being tied to illusion magic skills. He'd make time manipulation, reverberation tied to Mystic Art class skills, considered as the most useful skills out of his kit. Man, they need to hire Bizzy, I'm telling you right now. Biz, you looking for a job? Netmarble might need to hit you up. Dark Magic Will of the Destroyer, remove or reduce increased cooldown to 8% or 0 this. Would help free-to-play and medium-sized Doctor Strange is a lot. I can't disagree with that. Change White Magic Spirit of Light to something less situational. Touch of Ashante doesn't have three useful skills. When using Touch of Ashante skills, reduce damage received by X% for 10 seconds. Since we have HP and defense in our 3-set bonuses, which we shouldn't, it should be like everyone else, crit rate and defense pierce. Give us a spec that converts % of our defense into defense pierce and % of our HP into crit rate. Replace White Magic, Wind of Truth. No one cares about Doctor Strange Ultimate and White Magic either. Now, before I get to the potential, I really like what Bizzy's saying here at the end with this % of conversion. I think this would dramatically help out a lot of Stranges. I think it's really solid. His suggestions on here in general are, I don't know. I'm glad they picked him as a winner, because it tells me that they read these in detail. So to finish up, potential: remove spell enhancement 1, status effect accuracy, and give us back our cooldown decrease. Remove ultimate gauge recovery and give us any of the following: crit rate, crit damage, defense pierce, accuracy, cooldown decrease, stamina recovery, guard damage. And that it says if you take the suggestion. So I think Bizzy did a fantastic job on this. Obviously Netmarble did too. I like a lot of what he has to say. Overarching, taking out the details and looking at a macro level, whatever they do with him, I would suggest doing similar to Star-Lord. At least getting close. Now, Star-Lord, any good Star-Lord out there is like, holy crap. I'm surprised I'm not seeing more Star-Lords out there, because they, so many of them, like, they're fast, they can't get hit, they're constantly moving, they're constantly have abilities up. It feels like what Spider-Man was like just last pass that got nerfed. So I actually wouldn't be surprised at some point when more Star-Lords figure out the right moves or the right builds, that he gets some tweaking there, because it is pretty insane. But I like what Bizzy's got here. I hope they follow his path. Let me know what you think in the description below, or not the description, the comments below, the Discord below in the description. Bring it there. Let me know what you think. We still want to do this roundtable. I wanted to bring this up again, just kind of see where everybody's at. And kind of go from there, right? That's all I got. So I wanted to shout out again Biz. I wanted to share with you guys exactly what he had in there and how the type of descriptions that Netmarble are looking for in order to get these wins. I think he did a lot of detail. It's a lot of knowledge. He broke it down fantastically. This is what we're looking for. This is how I think we can try to help improve the game. Do we get paid for it? No, we don't. But if we really want to do improve the game and share what we know. This is the sort of thing he did. You know, he probably spent a little bit of, I guarantee he spent way less time on this than he does on the daily playing the game or on the weekly day in the game. And this now hopefully can help improve his gaming experience. So I suggest others to do this when we do get these surveys to hopefully help improve the game, because I do think there's still a lot of potential. That's all I got. Again, hammer down like buttons, click notification bells, subscribe, all that sort of thing. I really appreciate you guys if you made it this long. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.